A life is a life, no matter how small. 73 million people have been killed in 1 year and will be killed again this year, if not more, and they are completely innocent humans.
This 13-year-old girl from Colorado was allegedly denied performing her slam poetry because it was pro-life. The teacher admitted that she did meet the assignment criteria, but that other students might feel unsafe or even find it offensive. Do you think this was really about protecting students, or is it all about censorship?
Why are we pushing our children in this direction? This young lady, instead of learning a beautiful lesson about poetry, learned that some voices are celebrated and some are silenced.
The left, that they have substituted their own judgment for the free speech that people are supposed to enjoy in this country, that they have decided that the school and their judgment is more important than a parent's judgment.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you saw in the intro, you have a young lady here who had her poem banned, a pro-life poem. Now, how I feel about this topic is not as it relates to that particular topic in of itself, right? It's about the fact that the radical left has taken over all the institutions, including the educational institutions. It's really everything. I mean, be it entertainment, politics, education, right? These are very important areas. There's so many different things. You can't watch movies and listen to music. Can't even play video games without some sort of woke propaganda nonsense being in these different forms of media. And apparently you can't even go to school and have a pro-life poem, but I guarantee you that if you had some sort of pro-LGBTQ poem or a pro-choice poem, do you think that they would have any issue with that at all? Absolutely not. So without further ado, let's go ahead and react to the story here. By the way, guys, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can hype videos. So be sure to like the video, hype the video. It helps out a lot. Appreciate you.
My teacher assigned an assignment in class to write a slam poem about a conflict in the world that we are passionate about. I chose life. I chose this topic because it's important to me and my family. In my poem, I met all of the criteria, I got reputable resources, and I included everything that I needed in my poem. But when I asked my teacher if I could present it, she said no. This is when my mom had to step in.
I immediately emailed the teacher and I asked her to call me. It took till the next day for her to call me. They said that because of the offensive material in the poem that they were not going to allow her to present. And I pushed back on them because not only were they presenting a lot of political material themselves, but they were presenting it as truth. They brought up issues like racial issues. They had LGBTQ rights, immigration. To that, they said, sorry, no, this is too political. We are not going to allow it. And so here we are, just telling our story.
Yeah. When I further asked my teacher about why I could not present, she said that I would not be able to be even in the class while my fellow classmates are presenting their poems, and that I would have to sit outside. But when I further questioned her, she finally said that I could be in the class to listen. A life is a life, no matter how small. 73 million people have been killed in 1 year and will be killed again this year, if not more, when they are completely innocent humans. They never get to see the light of day before they are cast away. They did nothing wrong except exist and were dismissed. People say women in healthcare, but never think how unfair. They kill a baby for simply being there.
That was a 13-year-old girl reciting a portion of her poem after it was banned from being read aloud in class. A Colorado teacher refusing to allow this 7th grader from reading her pro-life poem with other students, claiming her poem was offensive, politically charged, and might make other kids feel unsafe.
Okay, this is a wild story. The assignment asked kids,
what's up with people using the term unsafe? Like, what does that even mean? Like, oh, I'm unsafe. Like, you're talking about a topic I don't like. I don't feel safe anymore. That's the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. I'm really getting tired of hearing it. I'm beyond tired at this point.
To write and present slam poetry about a world conflict they felt passionate about. And this little girl you just heard from, she chose the topic of abortion. Her family says she was prohibited from reading the poem, even though staff admitted that it met all the assignment requirements. Newsmax reached out to the school for comment, but did not get a response immediately. Kelly Lester is an outreach and government engagement coordinator for And Then There Were None. Alexander Bauer is the chair of New Jersey Moms for Liberty. Alexander, let me start with you because they said that this was offensive, could make people feel unsafe, but they allowed poems about LGBTQ rights.
Hello,
and
what did I
mocking
just say? What did I just say? I said I guarantee you that they had a bunch of nonsense up in there. Of course they would allow poems about LGBTQ because that's what they support. These people want free speech for leftist propaganda. They don't want free speech for things that they don't want to hear. It's really that simple. It's a bunch of activists that are out here teaching everybody's kids, y'all. If your kids are in public school, I know it's hard, but you got to get these kids out. Even the private schools are starting to have a lot of problems. Really, homeschool is the way. If you could do it, you definitely need to do it.
Jesus, those were not offensive somehow. What do you think?
It's not surprising, unfortunately. First of all, they keep pushing children, especially young children, towards, finding their political identity and activism. And these are just young kids trying to go to school and learn some, poetry and math and English. But they're the ones that are pushing them this way. This young girl did the assignment. She did exactly what was asked. The difference is the teacher decided what viewpoint was appropriate and what viewpoint wasn't.
Exactly.
And that's where it's wrong. And who's to say who feels safe with what? Maybe, anti-Second Amendment, things like that make other children feel safe. So, there needs to be, if you're going to push this sort of assignment, there needs to be clear, bullet points of what's allowed, what's not allowed. But again, why are we pushing our children in this direction? This young lady, instead of learning a beautiful lesson about poetry, learned that some voices are celebrated and some are silenced.
Well, I think, Kelly, that's really the point here, right? And I think perhaps the sentiment that has been missed on the left, that they have substituted their own judgment for the free speech that people are supposed to enjoy in this country, that they have decided that the school and their judgment is more important than a parent's judgment, or that they can hide what's going on in the life of a child from the parent. And so is this just really a continuation of this trend? And if so, how in the world does it finally get checked?
Yeah, it's interesting. If this same girl had gone to her guidance counselor pregnant and told her that she wanted to have an abortion, her guidance counselor would quickly take her to a Planned Parenthood or make sure that she was able to do that without telling the parents. It's also interesting that in the state of Colorado, there have been several pregnancy center attacks. Colorado Springs Pregnancy Center was attacked in 2022 or 2026 two times. Longmont Pregnancy Center was attacked in 2022, and they made the statement, if abortions aren't safe, neither are you. Cortez, Colorado had an attack in 2022. And of those attacks, there has been no one even brought to justice or accused of doing it. Those are actual acts of violence that Colorado has done nothing against. But this young girl speaking freely has been told to be silenced.
Yeah. Alexander, final thoughts here. Alexandra?
Oh, sorry, I lost you for a second there.
No.
Yeah, well, I think, this is what ends up happening is that when you lock the parents out of the classroom, these type of things happen. We need to know what the curriculum is. I'd be very interested to know if the parents knew about this assignment ahead of time and what exactly the details were. I mean, this is what we've learned. When you divide families up, there's no guidance. Kids don't feel, taken care of. They need their parents. We're the ones that love them the most and have their best interests at heart. So we need to involve parents, and there needs to be an open discussion, and we need fairness for all.
Guys, this doesn't really surprise me at all. I literally started this entire channel on the topic of school and school choice, and how the left was a bunch of hypocrites. It was with Abby Phillip, and how there was I don't know, some lady, I can't remember what position that she had, but what position she held, but effectively this was a Democrat black woman who decided that she did not support school choice, but she was also taking advantage of school choice as related to her child, right? So it's always the rules for thee and not for me. In this case, we're talking about free speech. So they want free speech to apply to leftist ideology, right? They want to be able to talk about LGBTQ, to be anti-Second Amendment. And in this case, they want to be pro-First Amendment for themselves, but anti-First Amendment as it relates to topics that they feel like could trigger them or might make somebody feel unsafe. Anytime you hear somebody say, oh, somebody might feel unsafe, you know it's a leftist propagandist Looney Tune. And unfortunately, a lot of these people have taken over the school. That's why a lot of these people gravitate towards the schools, because they're specifically targeting the kids. They want to indoctrinate them and give them these weird gender changing days and have all of these special pride days, because Pride Month is not enough. They got to have special days for that, and transgender days and non-binary days, and all sorts of other additional letters and symbols and nonsense that they're coming up with. These people are not good people, guys. They're not operating in good faith. They don't care about fairness. They don't care about rules. They don't care about Constitution. They don't care about laws. They only care about indoctrination and a bunch of woke BS. You cannot trust these people with your children whatsoever, and it's about time that people start taking whatever measures possible, including drastic measures, in order to protect their own children from these lunatics, because trust and believe that this situation that you're seeing here is only going to get worse, because it go back about 20 years, 30 years. Could you imagine something like this happening in your school? Bet you couldn't. So now imagine what it's going to be like in another 20, 30 years. And think about where you want your kids to be and the type of logic and ideology that they have, because one day they might grow up to be a teacher just like this, and they might be a crazy woke propagandist, and I'm pretty sure that's the last thing that you guys want. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm out. Shout out to my members, patrons, and fellow anomalies: Cyber Noodle, 655, The Great, Bella Scott, Carpentier John, and Pinecone 6. I appreciate you guys every single day.
It also sheds light on the very important question: who raises children nowadays? The parents, or teachers, or schools, or political parties? And when you have a teacher deciding that double standard, what does and doesn't qualify as offensive speech, and then the double whammy is presenting it as true, whichever viewpoint they adopt is going to sort of answer that question as to how children are raised. So it is a huge problem. And I guarantee you there are even liberal parents that are outraged at this, because not everybody agrees on every single issue. And parents would like to retain the right to have a seat at that table, preferably the head of the table as they're raising their children.